I left Quiet Riot in 2003. There were some problems internally with the band and it just wasn't working anymore. So I was working on a couple other projects, and around 2008, I got a call from Warren. I remember I was laying out in my backyard getting some sun, and I got a call. I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't answer it. You know, something I don't want to answer. I don't know who it is. You know, and so I checked the message about a couple minutes later. Yeah. And then it was Warren, and I go, oh, I'm thinking the first minute I heard his voice, I haven't probably talked to him in about 20 years. I think either there's a big party going on or they're looking for a guitar player. Those are the first two things I thought about. And obviously the latter was what they were doing. And he asked if I wanted to come down and work with those guys a little bit. I did, and they were auditioning other people as well. And somehow I got the gig. I don't know why, but I came down and worked with them for a couple of days, and they said I think it took them about 6 months before they finally told me I'm in the band. I'm doing gigs with them and touring with them, and I still didn't hear it. But yeah, I've been with them for like a little over a year now, almost a year and a half, I think.
Like it was over a weekend, I think a holiday weekend, and I just had this little 4-track cassette recorder, and you know,
no Pro Tools.
like the old cassette thing that they used to have in the car. And I managed to get this whole thing plugged in, and you know, I got a sound, I got everything together, and I had these parts. So I just spent this weekend making this demo, this arrangement, and it was really fun because I had to bounce things. Yeah, I'd get it so far, and I'd have to bounce everything in one track, and then 3 more, and then you know I did this whole thing. So I had this great time just making this demo for 3 days, and I submitted it for the album we did in 1988 called Reach for the Sky, and the producer didn't think it fit with the rest of the material, which was cool. So it went in the drawer. But I had played it for Dweezil Zappa, and he really liked it because there's this part in there that Frank showed us. This bit is an exercise that Frank showed us. You know, not with that feel, but it's. And it just sort of percolated in my mind for, I don't know, a couple of weeks or whatever, and then then you know, skip to the 3-day weekend part. So anyway, I saw with Dweezil a few weeks later, and I was like, you got to hear this thing I worked on that has that part Frank showed us, and he's like, you know, that's great. You know, he liked it a lot. Anyway, so then skip ahead like almost probably 14 months from there. The record was you know, pretty much, it was the hardest thing we ever did. It was just really, you know, it just had so many problems, and it got to the point where we changed producers, and Dweezil knew the producer that took over, and this was like, and he was saying, so how's the new Ratt stuff? Because it was, you know, and he was like, well, I don't really think they have a single on it yet. And he goes, well, is that bluesy thing that Warren wrote on it? And he said, no. And he goes, oh, get him to play that song. I'm not sure what it's called, but, so then I played him that demo, and he's like, well, this is it. And then we cut that in about 3 days, and that's how that came about.